The year is 480 BC, and the Persian king Xerxes has assembled a massive army to invade Greece. As the Persians approach the hot gates of Thermopylae, only 300 Spartans, led by King Leonidas, stand in their way. What follows is one of the most epic battles in history. This is the story of the 300 Spartans at the Battle of Thermopylae. As the mighty Persian army approached the hot gates of Thermopylae, the Spartan king Leonidas had a decision to make. He could retreat into the hills or hold his ground and fight. After consulting with his advisors, he decided to stay and defend the pass. With him were 300 elite Spartan warriors, hand-picked from the best of the best. Why did the Spartans choose to defend the hot gates? The reason was simple. Thermopylae was a narrow mountain pass that forced any army to funnel through it in single file. This made defending the pass easy. Only a few thousand soldiers were needed to hold the entrance, which allowed the rest of the Greek army to take up positions on the hills overlooking the plain. From there, they could rain down arrows onto the Persians below, picking them off before they even reached the pass itself. It also meant that the Greeks could observe the Persians' every move and react accordingly. In short, Thermopylae was an ideal place to make a stand. But why did the Spartans send only 300 men? The answer lies in the nature of Spartan society. Spartans were warriors first and foremost. It was their duty to defend their homeland, and they took this responsibility very seriously. Every male Spartan was trained in the art of war from the time he was a boy. They lived, ate, and slept together in barracks. They were taught to be disciplined, courageous, and selfless. Spartans were expected to put the needs of the state above their own personal desires. When the call to arms went out, all able-bodied males were expected to respond. So when King Leonidas called for volunteers to defend Thermopylae, 300 of the bravest and most experienced Spartan warriors came forward without hesitation. It should be noted that the Spartans were not the only ones who fought bravely at Thermopylae. The Thespians, led by the heroic King Leopold, were also instrumental in holding off the Persians. In fact, it was the Thespians who made the ultimate sacrifice, holding the Persian center while the Spartans covered their flanks. So what happened at the Battle of Thermopylae? The answer is nothing short of epic. For 3 days, the Spartans and their allies held off the Persian onslaught. They fought with courage and determination, killing hundreds, possibly even thousands of Persians. But eventually, the Persians broke through the Greek lines and the Spartans were forced to retreat. However, not all the Spartans retreated. 300 of them stayed behind to cover the withdrawal of the others. And in the end, all 300 were killed, but not before they inflicted heavy casualties on the Persians. One of the most famous Spartan warriors was Eurytus, son of King Anaxandridas. He was known for his bravery and skill in battle. According to Plutarch, Eurytus was the first Spartan to die at the Battle of Thermopylae. Another Spartan warrior was Telamonian, who was famous for his ability to fight with a shield and sword. He was said to have killed many Persians before finally succumbing to their numbers. One of the last Spartan warriors to die was Chiron, who was known for his strength and endurance. He held off the Persians long enough for the other Spartans to escape, but in the end, he too was slain. What happened to the Persian king Xerxes after the Battle of Thermopylae? The answer is that he continued his invasion of Greece, sacking the city of Athens along the way. But he never forgot the Spartans. In fact, he is said to have been haunted by the memory of the 300 Spartans who had held off his army. According to Herodotus, Xerxes was so impressed by the Spartans' courage that he offered them a noble death. He gave them the option to surrender and live out the rest of their lives in Persia. But the Spartans refused. They would rather die than submit to the Persians. So Xerxes ordered his soldiers to kill every last one of them. After the battle, the Spartans became legendary figures in Greek culture. They were seen as the epitome of courage and selflessness. The story of their bravery at Thermopylae was told and retold for centuries. And today, they continue to inspire people around the world. And now for some fun facts about the Spartans. 1. Spartans were not allowed to own property. All land and property was owned by the state, and everyone was equal. 2. Spartans were not allowed to have nice things. They were only allowed to have the bare necessities. This was done to make them more humble and self-sufficient. 3. Spartans were not allowed to show weakness. If a Spartan was injured or exhausted, they were seen as a liability and would be left behind to die. 4. Spartans were not allowed to eat too much. They were only allowed to eat what they needed to stay alive. This was done to make them more disciplined and focused on their duty. 5. Spartans were not allowed to have fun. They were only allowed to do what was necessary. This was done to make them more serious and committed to their mission. Now, let's talk about the Persian army. The Persian army was huge. It was made up of soldiers from all over the Persian Empire. The army was well equipped and well trained. They were used to fighting and winning battles. The Persians were led by King Xerxes. Xerxes was a powerful and intelligent ruler. He was determined to conquer Greece. So what did the Persians do after the Battle of Thermopylae? After the Battle of Thermopylae, the Persians continued their invasion of Greece. They sacked the city of Athens and burned it to the ground. The Persians then moved on to the city of Thebes. The Persians defeated the Thebans and killed or enslaved their entire population. The Persians then moved on to the city of Plataea. The Persians were defeated at the Battle of Plataea, and this ended their invasion of Greece. What happened after the Persian War? After the Persian War, the Greek city-states began to decline. They had been weakened by the war and were no longer able to resist the growing power of Macedonia. In 336 BC, the Macedonian king Philip II conquered the Greek city-states and established the Kingdom of Macedon. What are your thoughts on the Spartans? Do you admire their courage and discipline? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.